Today, all the way through Tuesday, it's the runoff election. Good to have Leader Echols, Representative Dunnington. Let's start with you. Let's go over these races. What people are on the ballot are doing on the ballot this week. A lot of races. Let's start with the legislature. That hashtag OKLEG is what you go to on Twitter, by the way, to see all the greatest news. What's going to happen on Tuesday with where you guys serve the legislature?
Yeah, the runoffs for the legislature are such an important election that's coming up. So everyone talks about the governor's race, lieutenant governor's race, attorney general's race. That's what you're seeing commercials on TV. But the real decisions that are made for you that affect your everyday life, they happen in the Oklahoma legislature. And there are runoff races for that, mainly on the Republican side of the ticket and not on the Democratic side. But those are the races. If you live in a House district that has a runoff election, it is imperative that you go out and cast your vote, because the legislature, again, is where the decisions are being made, and you need to cast your vote.
Somebody once said all politics are local, and this is, when you're talking about the legislative process, a lot of races, and it is important.
It is very important. We have House and Senate races up, and I'll also say the hashtag OKLEG. You can get a lot of good information on Twitter. Hashtag OklaEd is where I think you get the best information on Twitter with the education chats and the things we do. And what you see on there is legislators on there, and they're the ones that are making these decisions. And what's even more important is you have to vote. I mean, you have a hard time complaining if you don't take this time to go out and vote. Voting is the core of your civic duty. If you don't go out and vote, you're losing that fundamental right that others really have fought and died for, that other countries are dying to have. We want you to go vote, go make your difference heard. The legislature is very important who wins these races.
All right, another big race on Tuesday. We'll find out about Tuesday is the GOP. The GOP is going to decide who's going to represent them against former Attorney General Edmondson. It's Stitt versus Cornett.
Yeah, you have the consummate outsider in Kevin Stitt versus an incredibly successful mayor and Mayor Mick Cornett. GOP has two great choices. What I think will come down in this case is turnout. Kevin Stitt's going to do great in Tulsa area. Mick Cornett's going to do great in the Oklahoma City area. Then we're going to have Western Oklahoma, Eastern Oklahoma. But who's going to turn out their people to vote? This is a horse race. I don't know who's going to come out. I get asked that question all the time. The GOP is going to have a strong candidate for governor as soon as they're done, and hope people get out and vote for this one too while you're out there. This one's going to be a squeaker.
And former Attorney General Edmondson awaits the winner of this. Your view of what the GOP is going to go through Tuesday?
Yeah, Drew Edmondson is sitting back waiting for November in order to face a challenger that comes out of the primary. What I'm still completely confused about is that both of the candidates for the GOP nomination for governor continue to have this contest back and forth on TV on who is more like our president of the United States. After another terrible week for the president, scandal after scandal, it just shocks me that the two candidates for GOP governor continue to vie for trying to be like someone that's just rocked with scandal. I hope that we'll see after the runoff elections that we'll see much more of a clean race, and that it'll be about issues. That's what people of Oklahoma want. That's what we need in November. And lots of down ballot races that don't get quite the attention, but those are equally important. Yeah, absolutely. The down ballot races that are coming up, Corporation Commission, we have county commissioner that's going to be up for election in a runoff here on Tuesday. We've also got races like all the congressional races. Many of them have runoff elections. Would really like to see Kendra Horn move forward. She is just a solid candidate on the Democratic side who's in a runoff for CD5. I think that she would be a great representation for this area. So many down ballot races. Again, such an important time to vote. Nobody thinks about voting in August. We usually have record low turnouts for runoffs, but this is who's going to be on your ballot in November. If you want an opportunity to vote for them in November, you have to go vote for them on Tuesday.
And a ton of GOP races down ballot in the runoff.
Well, there are, and some key down ballot races to watch. I mean, you have in CD5 Congressman Steve Russell sitting there waiting to see who his opponent's going to be. Really, it's the best position he could be in for him. You've got your AG race between the current AG Mike Hunter and his challenger Gittner Drummond. That's a race to watch. The lieutenant governor race has turned into what looks like a dead heat between Dana Murphy and Matt Pinnell. You have Leslie Osborne and Kathy Costello. You've got, for running for labor commissioner, you've got some very important down ballot races. You got your local elections. County commissioner here, Kevin Calvey's running in his. We've got to make sure that we get out to vote. These down ballot races are just as important. They really touch the people's lives.
And remember, we're going to have great coverage here on News 9 all Tuesday evening, just like we did in the primary. So looking forward to that. All right, we'll get off the election for just a moment. Another big story about emergency certifications. The Okla Ed, you mentioned hashtag Okla Ed on Twitter and people that are following education issues there. This is an issue that's probably not getting enough attention, but we're going to give it some now. Why is it important?
Yeah, so first, if you're not following the Okla Ed hashtag on Twitter, you should. Every Sunday night, you have Democrats, Republicans, school teachers, activists, parents. They're all on there talking about education issues. It's phenomenal. It's unlike social media normally is, where we're actually talking about issues, we're figuring out what we can do. So on these emergency certified teachers, here's what it tells us. As a free market capitalist, which is what I am, when we have that many emergency certified teachers, our teaching pay is not where it needs to be. Now, we had an incredible bump last year, $6,000 on average, which was wonderful. Over $500 million additional dollars to education, which was a great step one. It was a great start. But when you have that many, you're not keeping up with the market, and we have to build on this momentum. But I will say this, the momentum for the first time in a long time is on Oklahoma education's favor right now. They have the momentum. We just need to build on it.
Well, it's a lot different world we're living in right now than it was a year ago.
Amen.
So this issue on Okla Ed, it's going to be a big issue in the general election in November.
It needs to be a big issue in the general election in November. Education is the most important issue, and we have just learned this week that we've had over 2,100 emergency certified teachers. Just think about that. Back in the year 2012, we only had 32 for the entire state, and this year we have 2,100. These are emergency certified teachers, meaning that they do not have a degree to teach. Would you let someone operate on you in an operating room that didn't have a degree to practice medicine? Would you go to a dentist that didn't have a degree to practice dentistry? No. Why are we okay with the fact that we have 2,100 people in our classrooms that don't have a degree to teach our children? It's unconscionable. It should not happen. It is failed leadership, and it needs to change.
All right, we'll see how that works out in November, because we'll be talking about that a lot. Thank you both. See this again at news9.com/yourvotecounts. And by the way, that digital world of Twitter, follow me, Scott Mitchell, on Twitter @MitchellTalks.